Cam on Saturday. Do you want to have it clarified a little bit earlier than that, or could you play multiple centers during the game? Or how do you
Oh, yeah. No, I think, yeah, we definitely could play multiple centers during the game. Probably we'll have to, but good news is I think we got multiple guys that can go in there and play. But we kind of know what we want to do, but we'll roll somebody out there and get it started, and then we'll go from there.
Whether it's on the line, running backs, wide receivers, have you ever had, I guess, this much depth at so many positions, and how good of a problem is that to have when you have so much talent you can work through those different, I guess, lineups?
Yeah, well, we're going to all have challenges. I mean, there's going to be injuries. We'll have some injuries or COVID issues or whatever, and everybody will deal with that throughout the year. So it's a blessing to know that we've got a veteran team, and this is one of the oldest teams that I've had, and we got two new walk-on kids that came out that are actually, one's a senior and one is a third-year player. So we actually have 70. We have 135 on the team. We have 70 third, fourth, fifth, sixth-year players, and then 65 first and second-year players. So it's one of the older teams that we've had, and so that's exciting because it's created great competition. Number one, with the experience and the talented youth that we have, it's created great leadership, but we have good depth. We don't have great depth at corner, but I like the 6 guys we got. That's good news. All 6 of those guys can, and they're different places, but they're like Nate's the true freshman just getting here, but man, is he going to be a good football player. I mean, so all 6 of those guys will play and have the opportunity to help our team. So that's the one position we don't have a lot of depth, but we've created a little bit of depth because Makuba could play there as well, if we need him. But it's a good group, from a talent standpoint and what I've seen in camp from a functional standpoint. But outside of that, I think we have more depth in the OL, and we've got good depth in the DL, good depth at linebacker. We've got good depth at safety, good depth at receiver, good depth at tight end, good depth at running back. So that's a blessing for us, for sure, and hopefully that'll serve us well as we go through the totality of the season.
Do you like the fact you're going to have a more accurate assessment of where this team is after week 1, considering the caliber of opponent you're playing? Yeah,
I don't think there's any question. Sometimes you play games right out of the gate, and you may not learn as much. May not get as exposed as much, because a game like this. I mean, this is 2 really talented teams, and so where do we need to improve technically? Where do we need to improve fundamentally? Where do we need to improve mentally? Whatever it is, you'll come out of the game with a lot to work on. Whether you win it or lose it, there's going to be a lot to really work on with this team. And at the end of the day, for us, I mean, it's about hitting those goals right there. And we only got a chance to hit one. We can't win the division, we can't win the state or the ACC or the closer in this game, but we can get better, and we can learn a lot that sometimes may take you 2 or 3 games. And Kirby would probably say the same thing. Sometimes you could play 2 or 3 games and with a talented roster and maybe not quite know as much. So I think that's one of the blessings of playing a game like this.
Brent does not strike me as the type of guy who compartmentalizes a loss like the one against Ohio State and has a nice calm off-season after that. Do you get the sense that it's a little bit personal for him to show that was a one-off, that he can go up against a top-5 team like this and that defense will be everything that it has been before?
No, I don't think that at all. Brent, we all move on and he can compartmentalize. That, may shock you, but he's you move on. I mean, he's been doing this a long time. You have some good days, you have some bad days in this business. That's just the way it is. You move on, and this is one game. This is one of 12, and when it's all said and done, I don't think you can judge either team based on one game. There's a lot that can happen in one game, especially an opener. Nobody's going to be declared the national champion if you win this game. I think that's a big mistake. Again, there's 4 times in 21 years a matchup like this. So, you get better from it, but nobody's sitting around thinking about last year. This is a different team, and it's always been the case for us around here. We move on. Our eyes are forward, not back, and Brent's the same way. Just focused on, can't do anything about what happened, yesterday or last year. Our focus is on today, but regardless of what happened, you always want to perform well. And so that's our focus, is trying to get our guys ready to play well, and not trying to prove anything. What happened last year happened last year. We had a great season, won the league, got beat in the playoff. I mean, ain't no shame in that. Alabama's got 8 playoff wins. We got 6. We've been pretty good, and Alabama's won 8, but they've had some bad days in the playoff too. It happens. You move on to the next game, you grow from it. But as far as Brent sitting around trying to prove something, he's been doing this way too long to have a mindset like that. He just wants to see his guys play well.
Dabo, you mentioned how every year it's a new team, but it feels like the expectations are always constant in terms of not just being a pro, but it's expected to win the league and go to the playoffs. Do you have to have any conversations with the team each year about that, or do you feel like coming in, the guys know what's expected of them going into the season?
Yeah, we don't talk about going to the playoff. We just don't. We never have. We don't talk about winning the national championship. We talk about that right there. We talk about starting over. We talk about what it takes, from a philosophy, core value standpoint. We talk about the type of commitment that it takes, to be the best possible version of this team. That's really what we focus on. We don't focus on any of that stuff. Those are all things that can happen. Our focus is on just showing up every week, having great weeks of practice, great preparation, and putting everything we can into whatever game we're playing. And then you look up at the end of the year and, okay, well, here's where we are. That's really all we spend our time talking about. We don't talk about any of that other stuff.
Any thoughts on seeing Will Muschamp again, just in a different colored outfit?
No, I mean, I'm excited for him, happy that he was able to land at a great place like Georgia, obviously. Great program, great school, his alma mater. Obviously, he's got a great relationship with Kirby, so, I think that's a great opportunity for him, and it's great for Kirby, too, to have Will's a heck of a coach, always has been, and so it's a great opportunity for both of them.
Coach, what do you think about starting the season in Charlotte? That was the last win you guys got. You've had some luck there in the last few years, starting at a neutral site in Charlotte.
I mean, it's fun. I think ultimately you'd prefer to play home game. It's always my preference, but this was kind of a deal that came together, and it was a good opportunity for both teams. So I think we play them again maybe in a couple years. Is it 24 or something in Atlanta? So again, fun for the fans and good experience for our guys. So we're excited about it, and know it'll be a good environment and a good atmosphere. They've changed the surface up there, so it'll be field turf now instead of grass. But definitely a place that we're familiar with, and just look forward to kicking it off and hopefully playing well.
Is there one matchup for you? I mean, with the great players across that are going to line up against one another, is there one matchup that you think might decide the game more than the others?
I don't know if there's one matchup. I think ultimately it comes down to who can win the line of scrimmage. I don't know if it's singling out one person, but you gotta in a game like this, you got to find a way to come out on top. In the trenches. Not going to win every battle. It's just too good a play. Neither are they. But who can consistently, win that matchup, because that dictates everything else. So I think that's probably ultimately, from just a matchup standpoint, the critical area. But there's so much more that can go into it. You can play well up front, but drop the ball, have stupid penalties, whatever, bad plays in special teams. So it's not just the one factor, but I do think from just a matchup standpoint that is critical in a game like this, based on what both teams want to do and who they want to be.
You mentioned nobody's going to crown a national champion after this, obviously, but given some of the critiques of the ACC schedules and stuff like that you have heard ad nauseum over the years, do you feel like this is sort of an opportunity to send a little bit of a statement that you're not fighting against that narrative the rest of the year?
We're not worried about any narrative. We just want to play well and win the game. I think the narrative of our program speaks for itself.
Coach, you mentioned getting EJ some slot action during camp. How did he look in the slot, and what does that bring to the offense, being able to switch in Justin and EJ?
Yeah, EJ can play anywhere. He's very, very eerily similar to Ross. And the crazy thing is they came from the same high school, so I don't know what's in the water down there, but they're could be brothers. They're eerily similar in their ability. So it's good. When you've got some versatility, and we've got a lot of versatility. Joe can play anywhere. Frank, can play anywhere. EJ, Ross, Bo has become a versatile guy for us in a couple spots. So it's good to know that we've got good depth there. And again, guys that we can move around a little bit. But EJ has, played all three spots for us and has done excellent when he's been in the slot.
You mentioned Makuba possibly helping you guys out at corner if you need it. I think Brent said he played about 50 snaps there in the spring. Just how much work did he get at corner in fall camp, and I guess what about his skill set makes him versatile for you guys?
Yeah, he got a lot of work. He was at one-on-one every day. So that was something that he got a lot of work at. He's obviously gotten a ton of work at safety as well, but. His skill set, he's just a twitchy guy. He's fast. He's tough. But there's a lot of guys that have that. But it's his mentality that is unique for a young guy. His mentality, his mindset is, and there's a lot of guys actually in that freshman group that have a mindset that's just different, kind of way beyond their years. And Makuba's one of those guys. So I'm really excited about him. I think he's got a bright future. He's going to be able to do a lot of things as he goes through his career here because of that mentality and it's just football IQ. He really gets it. He works at it. He's a gym rat. But his versatility and speed and just quickness and change of direction, suddenness, physicality. He's a good tackler. He's really got everything that you could want in a guy.
Anything else from anybody in the room? We'll go briefly to Zoom if anybody has a question from Zoom.
Hey, Dabo, this is Dennis Dodd from CBS Sports. You play South Carolina every year. You've got Georgia, your non-conference schedule filled up, I guess, in future years. I just wonder what you thought about this alliance. Do you need to play any more of these games, from Pac-12 or Big Ten?
I honestly haven't thought much about it at all because it has nothing to do with what I'm doing right now. That's for somebody else to spend a lot of time thinking about. That's really it. We're going to play the schedule we get, and just like we always have around here, and who knows what's coming down the pipe in college football. I have no idea. You probably know a whole lot more than I do, as I certainly don't. I just think that's just probably one of the dominoes along the way. But at the end of the day, my job is to get a team ready to play, whoever we're playing, and that's what we try to do week in and week out, and we'll always do that. So I spend zero time, thinking about it.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right, with that, we'll close it up. Thank you very much.
All right. See y'all soon.